Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages, welcome to the YakPom podcast with your co-hosts, Yakman and GoPom. Well, I see Twitch girls is trending, but I'm not a Twitch girl, so I'm not going to put that as a hashtag on my Twitter.
Oh, man.
Oh, too good. All right, we'll be all watching. We've got special guest host I'm the Clown about to hop on. Excited to get to know this awesome new member of the team.
Absolutely. I feel kind of bad. Like, I've been so busy. I've popped into a few streams, but I haven't I don't think we've been formally introduced.
Yeah, same here. Well, I've talked to him a couple times in his streams, and dude, such a nice guy.
Yeah, no, I've only heard good things.
Got some good stuff we can talk about.
Things to be said. Get out of here. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, we don't need your kind in here. You be talking crap about the team, you just gotta go. You gotta get out of here. Forget about it. All right, let me shrink down here a second and see if we can get Mr. Clown in here.
Yes.
Then I just create group, huh? Hey, look at that. It's giving him a call.
Cut out and I was freaking out. Dude, are you pigeon calling? Are you pigeon calling?
Hey, my ringer worked.
It's someone. I'm Clown. Hello, welcome.
How's it going, bud?
It's going good.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you. I like the office setting. I gotta get an office lockdown.
I've only got one color over here.
This is basically just like a corner of my room.
Yeah,
I'm in the corner of my living room, so I get that.
it's like a little cubicle, but I mean, at least you get to decorate it. I can't stand the companies where they're like, here's your cubicle, but don't put up anything personal, or what have you. And I'm like, how do you survive?
Mm-hmm.
Some self-expression.
I need motivational posters with kittens staring into a mirror image of a lion. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
I need these things. So, I'm the Clown. Welcome to the team. It's good to have you join, and we're excited to. This is just a very casual thing, so no nerves. You just got to shake it off, and
loosen up.
There are no wrong answers. I feel like sometimes people come on the podcast like, Josh, what do I say? What do I do? Just be yourself. That's all we ask. If you're not yourself, or if you've been cloned and you're tied up, give us a sign.
I assure you, I am not cloned or tied up. I don't have any ropes on me.
Blink twice if you're not held at gunpoint for this podcast. Oh man, no, we like to keep it chill though. We don't have this incredibly long list, so my apologies for not touching base a little bit more this week. I don't know if you can hear the stuffiness. I've got this sinus thing going on, and
it's in the air.
You know.
Yeah, I've got it going on too. I've been sick for a few days as well recently, and it's rough.
Oh, it is. It saps you of your energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything just feels like 5 times harder, and we're just talking about mixing up some coffee or something in the morning.
Yes.
Oh. So oh man. Oh, some WandaVision. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So
I haven't watched the newest one yet.
I won't say anything, but pleasure to have you here. The biggest thing we always like to ask everybody who comes on the stream is how did you get started? Where did you come up with the name? And tell us a bit about yourself.
The name. I don't know. Can I curse?
Yeah.
I don't know how. Okay. So the name originated. So I started playing Xbox on MW3 on the 360 a long time ago. When I first started playing myself. And so I was just running with the basic, Xbox name, whatever. And there was this one dude named Fucko the Clown, and I liked the ring of it. I'm like, I really like the ring of that name. So I changed mine, to Wacko the Clown. And then I had a stint with the Black or Call of Duty and all that stuff. So we were doing like YakPom and stuff like that. And so I kept the clown in every single thing I've done. And so it's kind of just been my staple of it. So I was like, I want to do, like I'm the clown by this point. It's been several years. Like this is me. I haven't seen anyone else really repping this the way I have been. So I'm like, I'm going to go with it. The name was taken, and it was a account that was like offline for like 10 years.
Oh my god!
So I'm like, okay, for a while I had the L instead of an I, and that got confusing with a lot of people for a lot of reasons. So I just did TypeSpeak, replacing the T with a 7, because I know a lot of people do the popular thing where they replace an E with a 3.
Yeah.
So because they do that, I was like, I can do that, and it's work. It's stuck. I just with sticking with the clown, and with streaming. It was mostly just because I had an epiphany one day where I was just realizing like I play games as much as I do, and I love Warframe's community and being able to chat with people. I love the in-game chat and hanging out with people and talking with people while I'm playing. And I'm like, I do this as much as I do. I play as much as I play. Why not stream it? And just hang out with the people I'm already hang out with new people, meet new friends, meet new people to hang out with, and just get into that community. And then also push for Warframe content creator and going after all that with the built-in system that they have there to help people who are showing off their game and things like that. And because Warframe can be a difficult game to get into, and it's a whole bit. It's a lot. It took me several days to get the grasp of it. So I'm like, I can help other people get the grasp of it and help them get used to this game, because this game is free and it's an amazing game. And so that's partly why I started stream, was to introduce people more into Warframe, get more chat with more people, talk with more people. While I'm just playing games and hang out and do what I love, and I love that.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's one of the great things about streaming we talk about here all the time is you meet people from all over the world. Like, if I popped up I got to pop up a world map. I want to do that on my wall here at some point and just start putting a pin in every country where I've met someone new, because it's so cool. You get people from South Africa, the Philippines, Russia, Europe. It's just South America, Canada, the United States, even, bro. We're on the map.
It's crazy, because there's a feature which I actually need to figure out where I saw it again, where you can actually see like what countries you have had viewers in the past.
Yeah, the demographics under like your own.
Yeah, I haven't checked that recently. I've been doing a lot. I've checked when I first started streaming, just kind of see where things were happening. I haven't checked it recently. I need to, because I've improved a lot since like my first few months of streaming.
Absolutely.
And so I need to check that again and see where I'm at. But I love seeing that, because it's like you see like countries like I haven't even heard of, because I don't know world history very well, or like any history wise. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. Let's see where that is on the map. And so I pull up a map and I check and see where the locations are, so I can see what's it like.
Yeah, I love those fun statistics. I was surprised that like half of my viewership comes from the UK. I never would have guessed. Never would have guessed. I got a lot of great friends.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Yeah, I love it. Like, it's, as you said, like, I think that's the fun part about streaming, is sometimes like I feel like when it comes to gaming, like playing brand new games, especially free games, can be like super daunting. Like, I swear back in the day, like playing Fortnite by yourself was fun. Now it's gotten a lot more challenging and just more fun to play with people. Same like Warframe, especially if you're doing like glitch runs or different missions. And I think that's an awesome way to like build community around something that you're passionate about, as opposed to just like, oh yeah, this is here for everybody, and then you just don't really care about it,
Yeah, I'd have a hard time building community on Hello Kitty. Not gonna lie. You got to be passionate about what you do.
Enough about that. You might find a good bit of people also there.
Well, I'm sure I know there's plenty of people big into it, but I'm not. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so how's the hellos and the kitties today, guys? That'd be the extent of the conversation. So what is something that has pleasantly surprised you about streaming? Is there anything that sticks out that you didn't necessarily expect, but has happened because of streaming, or what you do?
I expected to meet more people. So that I knew the Warframe community was very welcoming, just starting out just in the chat and things like that. I didn't expect to be as welcoming as it has been. So like I'd say like I supposed to stand off if I knew that a lot of the creators and people who stream Warframe, very connected very well. But very, very early on, I started meeting like some larger creators on Warframe that are streaming on Twitch and on Xbox, and that I didn't really expect to really connect with, or at all. So right off the bat, I met Rebellusty Pinky. He like raided me out of the blue one night with like 50 people. And that was absolutely crazy. Like, cause I'm sitting here with like my 5 or 6 friends chilling, and that just came on over. And I'm like, what is happening? And in that, we also had Toxic Toe was in that as well.
Yeah.
And Toxic Toe's amazing people too. I've met several other people like Duber and other creators there. Queen Misrul's another one that I've had raid that is great people too. I've been like I lurk everywhere. Like whenever people are online, like I'm always like expect me to be I have like 15 tabs open, just like killing my computer. It's crazy.
Right.
But it's been super welcoming. I feel like and I knew that I knew kind of expect it. I just didn't expect it at that level. Is more so the thing. But streaming has been very, very pleasant. Just meeting all the people I have been.
Yeah, that's always
that's awesome. Yeah, like, and just it amazes me because, like, I'll be honest, like, even when we started out streaming, I remember like it was a very Twitch and just the internet in general could be a very toxic place, and like especially when you're trying to like get yourself out there, like build friends communities. I feel there's often this mentality of like, what are they trying to get out of me? Or there's this unspoken you set up yourself for failure where it's like, well, it's not going to work, there's no way. Whereas it's like, dude, they love the game just as much as I do, and like, oh my gosh, the excitement is just, you can feel it in the air. It's electrifying.
Yeah, it's always wild.
Crazy.
Some of those ice barriers that get broke down over something as simple and common as a video game. You meet some really cool people.
Yeah, and it's like with video games, like I've loved interacting with people. But with like as far as like real life, like for a very long period of time, I was anxiety or anti, not really social, just with barriers there. So I've had to break a lot of that down with streaming, and just overcoming that. Because it's crazy, because it's like in real life, like it's daunting enough to be like, okay, this random person that I'm gonna talk to in real life is like that. But with internet, it's like all of these random people, like anyone, like they could be in Russia, they could be in Australia, like they could be anywhere, and they're and I can't even see them most of the time. Like I can see them chatting and see them that, but I can't personally see them or read how they're feeling. So I've had to break down a lot of that and overcome a lot of that. But it's with all of that, it's kind of been good because gaming was my escape to where I could still get social interaction with people and still have that and not delve as deep as I am into. So that's why I've loved the community of gaming is just meeting so many people. It's just it's great. That's because I can just do it on my home and comfortable.
Yeah, I think there's a big difference between like it's interesting because it's like, I think, what was it like? I think there was a study done for like the top 10 things that people fear more than death, and public speaking was the number one thing. But it's like when you're in your home and you're comfortable, you're in your own environment, and you can welcome people into that. It's just an entirely different tone, different level, and like I can just see you just like your energy starts going off. You're very passionate about, which is super awesome. That like.
I can talk forever.
Yeah. Oh man.
If I know what I'm talking about, if I enjoy it, I could keep going and go. But if I have no idea about it, I'm like, I have no idea. Like I'm just quiet. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about. But everything else, I just go in so in depth with it.
But that was the one thing I want to ask is how did you overcome those things? Like what has probably been one of your biggest struggles that you've overcome, or something you're still working on as you feel you want to share? I know for something.
A lot of it. I'm very passionate about almost everything I do. Like I may procrastinate, I may take me a while to get done, but like I'm gonna do it. I want to do it. I want to hit those points. And one of the hardest things I've had to overcome was probably worrying about what other people think about me. Was the hugest thing. And
self-awareness, yes.
It was always just in the back of my mind where I would just like look at people and like no interaction with them, just look at me like they're probably thinking about this about me, and like it was such a bad place to be in. And I think around high school or college, I got to the point where I just sat there and I was like, why do I care? why do I care about what that person could be thinking about me? What is that going to affect in my life? And so I had to overcome that, where it's just like, they can think what they want about me. It's okay, but I'm still going to be me, because there's no reason for me to change what I'm doing because of what they're thinking. So I got to the point where I just had to stop caring what people were thinking about me and just doing what I wanted to do. And that was just such a huge burden that just lifted up my chest. Like it sounds really simple, but I'm sure that, like, to me, it looks very simple to me looking back at this point. But I'm sure at that point it was not simple. Like, I don't quite really remember how I went down, but at one point I just kind of crossed that bridge where I'm just like, oh wow, why didn't I do that before? Like, what was stopping me from doing that? And it's been such an important thing just to kind of push past that barrier and just focusing on what I'm focusing on doing, and just being, I've always been a very kind and welcoming person, and then wanting to, I'm empathetic and I focus on people. So it's been very nice just to kind of get myself out there finally and not care what people are thinking, but still being able to just, listen to them and, work with them and be friends with them. And that's definitely the hardest thing I've had to overcome, is just pushing past that barricade.
Man, it's so funny the way you brought that up, as far as that being something you struggled with and kind of coming to terms with it in your late teens, because I've got a little bit of a similar story with that, where, I grew up in YakPom and I grew up in a little bit more of a conservative and not incredibly strict background. It was a little more strict for me being the first. But yeah, I know I'm whining about oldest child syndrome, okay? Just deal with it. It's tough. No, but I learned in kind of later high school. It's like you go through school and elementary and middle school and high school. You're so worried about fitting in and forming those friendships and relationships. And you got to get to a point where you realize that you also have to not worry so much about that and make yourself happy, not worry about pleasing other people so much. And that was something I struggled with for a while in my teen years. And then one day I was like, you know what? Screw everybody else. I'm going to try to make me happy a little bit, It was kind of for selfish reasons, but, eventually you reach a point. But then when I went to get into streaming, I kind of had a little bit of that again at the beginning, because, you are going live. Yes, you're in the comfort of your home, but people can watch you, and you're thinking, oh man, are they looking at that blemish on my face? Are my goatee hairs too squirrely? Are they going to make fun of me? Like,
you want to do the social experiment? You want to know who your real friends are? Get a piece of lettuce, stick it between your teeth, and go live stream it. I guarantee you, only your real friends will point it out and say something. Everybody else who doesn't care is just going to let it go and watch you. Thing, honestly, like,
just big old stalk of broccoli.
Yeah, that whole thing about, like, just pushing, like, being real. It's like something I want to bring up or point out about that. It's like high school, for people like who maybe watch this one, like everything from high school back, don't worry about it. Like, whether it's great, whether it's like socially wise, worry about it grade wise. Like, don't think I'm telling you to drop out. But socially wise, like, all of that was so daunting. All of that was so daunting. Like, there was like, like you felt like there was like groups and stuff like that. And then once I got into college, it all disappeared. Every single bit of it. It was completely like different, because I wasn't really anxious to meet people. Like, getting into real world, working, all that. The real life is so different from what social, was in high school and middle school and elementary school and all of that.
Absolutely.
People will actually, interact. They act, there's no class system, it's not like, like the popular kids are going to come being like, why are you talking this like, there is no popular kids in real life, really. That's not there. It's just that people are just people.
Yeah, the only place that carries over is if you deal with Instagram.
Oh my gosh!
No,
I stick away from Instagram.
Oh, I hear you there. So one thing I wanted to bring up with you, because you and I got into this a little bit the other day, and I know you said you can talk forever about things you're passionate about, and I can too. So we'll try not to make the entire rest of the podcast about this, but you're working on getting a PC put together.
Yes.
So, fill us in a little bit on that, and because I built my PC pre-COVID, so the whole market was completely different. So what are you dealing with right now? as far as the graphics card shortage and
twice as hard.
and all this stuff.
I have a 1650 finally. I was able
Yes.
to grab one. That was about the best I could do. That's what's crazy right now. There's two things going on. It's not just COVID. I found this out looking into graphics cards. There's two reasons why
insider
graphics
info
cards aren't being that. Bitcoin. That whole thing with yes,
the
absolutely.
mining. Everyone's nabbing the cards for the mine.
Yes.
I didn't even think about that.
It is crazy.
Oh.
It is crazy. And wholesalers will only sell it to you if that's what you're using them for. They don't. I couldn't get one. I went to a wholesale website, where they're listing, one quantity, two quantity, trying just to get something, and they were basically, like this is what you need to be using the card for. What else are you going to be using the card for? I'm like, well, streaming. They're like, well, we're not gonna sell in a single quantity then. And I'm like, it wasn't the matter of fact that they didn't want to sell a single quantity. It's just that since what's really Bitcoin, they weren't really interested to talk with the scenarios, with the quantities. But it's
wow.
20 series cards and 30 series cards are going for like $1,000 plus a pop, when you can literally just buy a pre-built PC for that much. And it's like, in hindsight, like I look back and I'm like, if I had that much disposable income at one time, which I don't, I would buy a
makes it tough.
I would buy an Aura A11 right now. For anyone who's looking to get a PC, like that's what I would buy. Dell has been going on sales and things like that with their 30 series, 20 series, PCs pre-built for like down to $1,000. Like I saw a 30 series laptop go down to 1,200, and with the like i7 core. It is they are making a lot of money off of this right now because they're thinking smart. They're going, hey, you can't get the cards. We have a direct supply chain to the cards. We can sell these PCs at lower prices now and actually sell through them. And so it's really good. They're really thinking smart with that. But with the graphics cards. That has been a real struggle because like 1660s are like $500 if you can find one. Most of them are out of stock or back order right now. I didn't want to wait 4 months to buy a card for twice the price.
Yeah, no kidding.
On a 300, and then I was thinking about buying a 1650 from Office Depot. It was going to cost me $210, and I was like, okay, let me sleep on it. I should not have slept on it. It was gone the next day.
No,
I had to go to Amazon. I literally went. Oh, I'm so stupid. And I was like, okay, I'm going on Amazon. I was able to find one through PC Part Picker with their resources.
Yes,
I love that site. I love that
for
site.
$290 from Amazon. That's what I ended up ordering it for. And I got it through. It was like literally the next day I checked to see if you could still order them. You couldn't. They sold out the next day. Like people are just they're just going
wild
graphics cards and just buying them because you can't get anything else.
Never would have guessed in a pandemic that toilet paper and graphics cards would be the two items you cannot stock up on.
Yeah.
I would have thought it would have been like bottled water, granola bar. No.
What have you.
It's shit tickets and high quality graphics that matter.
It's the opposite thing in a hurricane. Like in a hurricane, everyone stocks up like on hand sanitizer. And it's like, why? Like I work at a retail store, and during the hurricane, the hand sanitizer was all gone, and we're like, what are you using it for? Why? Like, and then like toilet paper goes out in a pandemic. I'm like, yeah, I guess you're kind of like quarantined in, but like, you're not necessarily forced into your home. It's like be different. There's a tree outside your door. You couldn't get out of the house at all.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. Like, what do they think? One squirt and like boil the water. Like, it's got to be clean, right? We can drink it, right? Do not do that.
No.
Do not put hand sanitizer in your drinking water. Just boil it. We get it. Rough times.
Oh my gosh. That's wild. Yeah,
How many more parts do you need? Like, where are you?
I have just the graphics card right now. So that was I originally wasn't planning on building a PC this soon. So back in 2020 when AMD was talking about their new chips, this is the 5th year. They switch motherboards every 5 years, typically. So with a chip, every 5 years they switch the chip's size, and so then you get new motherboards. So I was like, okay, 2020 they're going to release it's the 5th year. This chip may be a new motherboard. And so if that's the case, then that's what I'm going to build off a PC from. So I have the new motherboard. It makes sense. And they didn't release it. It's the same motherboard. So I was like, okay. And I was like, okay. So DDR6 is supposed to come out in 2022. was supposed to come out in 2022.
Yeah, so many things have been like, pushed to the side.
And AMD was like went ahead directly after they just released that chip and was like, we're going to release another chip in 2022. So I'm like, okay, that has to be it. I'm like 2 years, I can probably wait 2 years. You know, no point me spending $1,000 and then replacing another 500 of that in 2 years. And then and then COVID hit, and everything went to crap. Everything got delayed. DDR6 is looking at 2024, 2025. And I'm like, they're probably going to wait that long for DDR6 to come out before they do new motherboards. So that way they're completely compatible with the new, the new RAM, their new chips. And with the shortage right now, we've got the trade wars with China, all of that going on, the Bitcoining fiasco. That's what they're probably going to wait for. So I'm like, okay, I've got 3 to 4 years between the upgrade. I'll start buying a PC now if I can get a graphics card. It took me about a month to find what I could get.
Get the graphics card, go outside, plant a hole, and hopefully a beautiful PC.
Oh yeah,
years, right?
It's just a tower sticking halfway out of the ground with like foliage around it. It's almost ripe. It looks like a good year for PC crop.
So how did you decide? I mean, among in an ideal world, how did you decide what parts you wanted to get for your PC or what parts that you're looking for? Because I feel that is a very for those who want to take streaming seriously and take it to the next level, getting a gaming PC of sorts to stream from is the next step. What are you looking at? Do you stream directly? Do you use a capture card? How are you streaming now?
So my stream setup, I wouldn't advise anyone to do what I did unless you have the income I had at the beginning of what I did. So I had this big epiphany that I can't talk completely about because of certain things. I had this huge epiphany during something where I was like, I want to start streaming. And I was sold on it. I'm like, there's no other reason. I'm gonna start streaming just because I want to. So I dumped $1,200 in streaming setup. I got a capture card. I did webcam, microphones. I bought a 4K monitor for my gaming because I wanted to get Series X eventually. So I was just like, might as well get that for the setup too. I bought another small monitor so I could do another monitor so I could do 3 monitors. I set everything up. And so that's what I based off. I was like, okay, this is my setup. So then I can just easily add a PC to it. No problem. All I have to do is just drop it in there. It fits. Everything's already here. And I'm like, I've got all my stuff. I don't really need to upgrade it as far as anything else goes. I think the next thing I'm planning to do is lighting. But that's going to be like $50. Because I'm looking at some lights on Amazon.
Oh my god, Amazon saves so much money for those lights.
Amazon is the great. Amazon PC part picker is always your friend. If you're building a PC world, use those religiously. Use them religiously, and you'll be fine. PC part picker is how I set my PC. That's how anyone really should set their PC.
That's how I built my custom.
If you're going custom, that's how you should go. If you don't really understand technology yet, or PCs, I would probably go to a good pre-built builder, and go with what they kind of recommend, because that's gonna be the best way, and then you can upgrade off of that or build separate from that once you understand it.
Yes.
But I understand a good bit. I wanted to go with AMD. I was 100% sold on that. Nothing against Intel, just AMD. From what I've heard, works a lot better when it comes to gaming and
AMD in the house.
Plus, I've been console gaming off Xbox forever, so 90% of the monitors I have are AMD FreeSync. So that's going to work a lot better with the AMD Core because that's what's in consoles too. It helps it refresh a little bit better, helps it improve it a bit better past what it's built to do because of the integration. So I went with AMD. I wanted to go with a core that was big enough to where I could game and stream off it right off the bat. Because I was like, I'm already streaming from my console. I'm probably still primarily beginning gaming on console. So when I game on PC, I might as well stream it or be able to if I need to. Because if I build a PC, I'm like, hey guys, I built a PC. People are gonna want to play PC games with me and see PC games, and it's gonna be kind of like, oh, I can't do that. Like, why not? So I've gone with the Ryzen one of the 7s tiers.
That's a good line.
Oh my gosh.
I paired my motherboard based off of compatibility. because a lot of some of the cheaper ones, you have to flash them a certain way or connect them to another computer. And I'm like, I don't have another computer to connect it to.
Then they're
Like,
done. Don't do it. Don't do it.
yeah, I was just like, I'll spend some more money for convenience. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. RAM's just 16 gigabytes is all I really need at the time, so that's all I'm gonna get. I'm going with M.2 SSD because I might as well go with a 1 terabyte M.2. I can throw a 2 terabyte Barracuda in there for $50 if I need more storage space. I'm not gonna need a whole lot. And only only Pacific games am I gonna put on an SSD. Because I have 5 terabytes of like Xbox games for like story games I don't really care about, but I play now and then. It's only my special stuff that I throw on my SSDs. And then I went with a Noctua fan because Noctua is just, if you're going fan, Noctua is amazing. I didn't want to mess with water cooling. I see a lot of cool stuff with water cooling. It looks beautiful.
If it looks beautiful. I've seen the horror videos. Yes. I'm gonna do it myself, and then the whole thing is just. Oh, I would cry if that happened.
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
The anxiety of it just possibly just one thing leaking and then everything going bad was just like, no.
For sure.
So
I'm
going with fans, Noctua. Everyone says Noctua works really well. They just started doing matte black series fans before they didn't. So they did the white copper fans that people, said ugly, but they worked. So now they have looks and they work really well. And they're supposed to be super quiet. And then my case is going to be a Lean PC case. I'm going with a full ATX, like huge case, because like the mid tower is nice and everything that you can do a whole lot with that. But I want to just have complete like room to do anything I want to do with it, custom. So I'm going to add lighting to it. Anything I might need to do with that, I can add to it. And so that's what that's the one part I probably splurged on, because I was like, this is my case, I can use for anything. Like, case isn't going to go bad. Case will work for as long as I really need it to. Motherboards I'll have to replace and things like that, but the case is just the existing part.
Pretty much lasts forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome. I looked at getting water cooled, but like, there's so much that goes into it that you don't think about. Like when you're just shopping and you're just setting up because you want it to look cool. Water cooling is a great way to go, and some of those coolers are solid and they're great, but like you're supposed to change the fluid out like I don't know, every year, every couple years.
It's a lot of maintenance.
And yeah, so then you're
cheaper.
It's working perfect. You have to risk the integrity of like the parts and the glue and all that by taking it out, swapping the fluid and all that stuff, and then putting it back in. And oh yeah, like you say, to have that one part potentially leak and then ruin the whole system, that was a deal breaker for me, because I could afford to build a nice custom, but I couldn't afford to immediately replace it.
No.
That's a great tip.
In general.
Yeah, that's a great tip for new people to consider. Is a lot of them look cool, but
I'd also like the RGB, the built-in RGB. That don't do it. It's not worth it. It looks nice. It does. But the problem that you see with a lot of the built stuff that comes pre with the RGB, the lights and everything like that, is that the controllers for them aren't as great as you want to be. So people are like, yeah, it's cool, but it's not particularly what I wanted because it's built in. If I'm going to do RGB eventually, but I like lighting and all that stuff, but I'm going to do it custom because that's a much better way to do it. You can do it exactly the way you want to it.
Yes.
You can tailor it. And it's like, like you're spending $20, $30 a part for this, added on stuff that doesn't necessarily work the way most people want it to, or it doesn't control well, or the drivers are difficult, or they don't work right, or they only sticks on this color, or the intensity is bad, and it's just this. That's another thing where I just kind of stuck away from it. I was like, no, it's not. I don't need to look extra like that, because the way my setup is, that you probably won't be able to see the PC unless you're in the room with me. So it's not something I really need to focus on.
Very true. Yeah, most of the parts I got, like, they came with some kind of lighting. Like, I've got a, what is it? It's 450.
Yeah, I have a few parts like that too.
I've got the MSI X470 Gaming Plus, so that's got red lights. And then my graphics card is RX 580 Red Devil by PowerPlay, so that's got some red lighting.
And it's like, if the thing you want is already going to have it, that's fine, but don't go like, hey, I'm going to go with this upgraded RAM stick, the same one, but it's $20 more. It's got lights on it. Like, that's the point where it's like,
yeah, that's where it's not
already
feasible.
has it. It's good, but don't pay more for the stuff.
No.
Gaming chair. I feel like the biggest investment. Correct me if I'm wrong. Besides a microphone, because that's another big thing too. But is having a good chair. Like, because if you're gonna be streaming a long time, the last thing you want to be is uncomfortable, and then you're just like sitting there always adjusting and always.
Yeah. Gotta have good back support when you get my age.
Yep. It definitely depends. Like with chairs and microphones, yeah. Like microphones, like mine, I'm using a Snowball, which has worked pretty well for me. Snowballs are great. Like entry level mic Snowball, like $60-$70.
What are those?
Those are great. So that's definitely a really good entry one to go with. And you also have the Yeti microphones. I've heard the Wave 3 from Elgato's is really good. That's more like 200. That's getting the 200 point. But chairs are,
and it makes you happy. Go for it.
Yeah, if you can afford it, like do it. But just don't research into what you're getting. And it's like with chairs are crazy. You've got Secret Lab, Respawn's got some crazy chairs too. They can get up to like $500, and you're sitting there you're like. That's a lot, but it can, depending on your situation, it's worth it because it's comfy.
It is. Do not go generic if you're getting a gaming chair. If you want a gaming style chair, do not go generic. I ordered one, and I think it wasn't even a day or two, and like part of the seat broke, and I'm like, no.
I will say,
I sent it back. I'm like, no, sorry. Yeah,
I will say my chair cost me like $180. Like not much,
bad.
Like directly from Staples, and like they based off of the price of your chair, you can get like 3-year accidental protection for nothing. Like I think I pay like $20.
Yeah.
And so if my cat scratches it or anything like that, I get it comes back to me. So and it's very, very comfy for I paid $200 for it, but it's super comfy. Like I want it to be.
Nice.
If I don't think I'll ever upgrade my chair unless like down the road, like very far down the road, I get like a sponsor, I get a chair.
Yeah, they ship you the chair.
This is perfect. It's comfy. It's got the support for your lumbar, your back. It's got the head pillows. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I see the neck rest there. I kind of miss that with the gaming chair, but I end up going with like one of those like conference style chairs. And it's actually, oh man, that's right. We're all business over here. No jokes. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's definitely comfy for the long haul.
Some of those business chairs, like the pricier ones, they are really good for the lower back because you think about it, people are sitting in those chairs for like 10 or 11 hours just doing business stuff. Like you want to make sure that person's very comfy because they're not even doing something necessarily super. Like I'm gaming. I'm gonna be happy no matter what. Like if I'm doing accounting. I'm not a fan of accounting. I've had to do a little bit of that. I want to make sure I'm extra comfortable sitting there for 10 hours doing that.
Oh, no kidding.
That's my thought process. If I'm going to be miserable or like not enjoy it, at least I'm comfortable, right? Like, it's one positive thing to put in.
Yeah.
This game of things. Any little thing can just make it better. Oh man.
Absolutely.
So I mean, that's another thing. Is like, so what do you think people should? Do you agree that protection coverage is worth it? I think that's another thing people will ask too. Is like, when buying PC parts, is it worth it getting protection on the motherboard?
It depends.
Me personally, like for chairs and stuff, yes. If you're getting like an expensive motherboard or it's known to have something after a certain amount of time, if you've done your research, then yes. Otherwise, like for me personally, it's kind of, it as you said, it depends.
With it, like, so with my job, I'm like a tech sales associate, so I'm in sales. Like I don't make commission off things like that, so which is really good. I prefer it that way because then my paycheck is not determined that. So then I'm not really forced to sell stuff that I don't necessarily believe in. I can recommend you, hey, you should get this because I believe this is going to benefit you for this reason. And it's like, it's not powered by me getting, money or anything like that, which is really, really good for my job. Like, because I didn't want to feel like a car salesman. That's the one thing,
right?
With sales. I was like, in the interview, I was basically like, is this commission? Am I pressured? Like, what's the deal with the sales? And so that was something that I've had to go, but it very much depends. So where I work, most of our insurance is done through Assurion. And Assuran is a really good company for stuff, because you got to think with warranties that company is probably going to try to get out of it the best they can. They're going to try to weasel them stuff out, find that technicality to where they can. In some cases, some companies don't do that. I'm not saying that all companies do that, but I have dealt with some companies where they lead you on for like a month until they're finally like, okay, I guess, and then they give you trouble with that, and they judge you to that. So you don't want,
really not about helping you. They're about kind of tiring you out until, okay, I guess we'll help you. Whereas Assuran, like, because I've used them before with the cracked screen and stuff, and it's always call, yeah, you wait a bit, but like it's next day. Oh, here's the box, here's a shipping label, throw your phone in, send it, ship it off. It'll be back in like this many days or what have you.
They're very much no nonsense. They're just like, because like the protection plans are pretty much really good price. The only thing I don't like about the protection plans is the monitor pricing. Monitor pricing is kind of crazy because monitors don't fail too much, but there's still an instance where like if you buy a $400 monitor and that $400 monitor conks out in a year, do you want to buy another $400 monitor in a year? And
yeah,
it's
that's
always,
a big one.
Protection plans is always that. It's always that. What if? What if this were to happen? But you have to kind of compromise with, who are you buying it from? Assuran's good. I'll say I've heard they can have some problems, with their protection plans through Walmart. But Geek Squad's another one. I can rip on Best Buy a little bit. But Geek Squad protection plans are a hassle to redeem. From what I've had to do, they're okay. They're completely accidental. Like I got on my Series X, because it was like $80 for 2 or 3 years. Accidental protection, and my original Xbox had a problem that the first edition of the Xbox One didn't have. And this was 3 years after the Xbox One, to where like my connectivity adapter in the Xbox One had a fault.
Oh no.
So my controller would act like it's disconnecting from Xbox and start flashing, and like, oh, I don't have battery, and it would flash and flash and flash, and nothing you do would respond to it, and then my Wi-Fi would disconnect, and then my Wi-Fi would reconnect, and my controller reconnect.
What in the world?
It would just Contagion just decide to go off, and then everything would disconnect and then reconnect instantly. And it started, 5 hours of play, 1 hour play, 30 minutes of play.
Oh my gosh.
And so I barely got with it. I barely talked to them before my warranty went out. And so I was like, okay, I've had the first year problem. And my console's 3 years old. I bought my console 3 years later. I want to make sure that something I'm investing $500 to is covered too. They also cover the controllers too, which I didn't know about. I looked into the protection plan. They're like, if the controller that comes with your console has a problem, we will replace it. And I was like, oh, nice. Okay. Like I don't know if that means like that I can't also redeem my console if they're separate, but I think it seems the way it's worded like they're separate. It's like your controller and console are protected, but it definitely does depend on who you get from. Because some companies are gonna try to whiz out. Assuran's no nonsense. They're pretty much just like, hey, oh yeah, your chair's got a scratch on it. Take a picture. We'll send it to you. We'll give you your money back, or we'll send you a new chair. They do repairs. It's like within two days they give you your money back, and it's always on their dime. Like they're shipping it to them. And so with them, like I bought my wife's Xbox One S from Amazon, and it was like, do you want to add 3 years of accidental protection through Assuran for $60? And I'm like, sure. Right. 3 years of accidental protection on console, I will probably replace that console in 3 years. Like honestly, like because I'll probably be getting the next thing or something something new, so she can have my Series X. So I was like, yeah, if it conks out in 3 years, then I get my money back and can buy the new thing.
Absolutely.
That's crazy. So there's something to be said for reading the fine details, honestly.
Yes, read the fine print. Don't just scroll and hit I agree. Yeah, it's you can really add to the bill if oh, I've got this little 3-foot USB cord. I'd like protection on that. Oh, I've got this $10 mouse pad. I'm gonna, that's what'll nickel and dime you. But like you say, on some of the big things, like a $400 monitor, that's something you definitely want to pull the trigger on and get the protection plan.
It's like it's something like it depends the company you're going for. It depends on the item that you are you're doing on. And
what it covers.
I see the nightmares of it, of the people who don't have protection plans, and it's really rough, and it hurts me sometimes because it's like people come in and like like something the charge report messed up or stuff like that where it's like or there's a motherboard issue or something where I'm just like this is a nightmare. Like there's nothing you can really do for this. And it was a $500 laptop that's a year old. Like so it's out of manufacturer warranty, but it's still it's too soon to replacing a laptop that costs you that much. So it can be really rough. Like my webcam, I protected that too because the way I see it, I know a lot of people sit there and they're like, well, there's all these rich people who are like, if I bought protection plans, I wouldn't be rich, or if you didn't buy protection plans, you would save X amount of money. And it's like, yeah, but how much of that X amount of money that you're saving would you then have to use to replace the object that you could protected at full price because it went out early?
Yeah.
It's like the people who are rich saying you don't need protection plans. Yeah, they don't need protection plans because they can't afford to replace it again.
Right.
I can't. I cannot. Like, I wish I could afford to be like, no to everything and just throw away a computer after 2 years or a year or so, like just replacing stuff that fast. I can't. I use it till it goes out. I have to. Otherwise, like, it's just not gonna. It doesn't work.
And that's how we were raised. Like, I swear, like our dad in particular, like he can grab a penny and like squeeze it until it screams every last drop out of it. Like that. Yeah, he laughs because he knows it's true. Like,
I do.
I do want to clarify though, like there's a difference between getting a protection plan and getting extended warranty. You can get a plan that has both.
Yes.
But knowing the difference between the two is a huge, because protection plan usually covers like any physical, like stolen, lost, and then extended warranties, anything that happens with like the board or like the electronics or the system itself.
Yep.
So like read the fine print on those things.
Yeah, and a lot of it's like there's warranties and there's like even like basic protections. Basic protection can cover no wear and tear. So it's not super expensive because it doesn't cover accidental protection. Like if you drop it, it's not going to be covered. But if you have a desktop, you don't necessarily need to have accidental protection on your desktop is going to be sitting there. But it could still fail on the inside from normal wear and tear from you putting it through the ringer. Because typically warranties don't cover normal wear and tear; they just cover defects. And normal wear and tear isn't necessarily classified as a defect. So there's a lot of you definitely have to look into who you're buying from. What past people like Square Trade? Don't buy from Square Trade. Save yourself the trouble. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that right now. The company I work for, Staples, they had Square Trade. They switched away from Square Trade because of Square Trade.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yes, they went from Square Trade to Asurion.
That's a big red flag for them.
I've had customers come back, with Square Trade protection, and they're like they won't do anything. And I'm like they should. They technically it's within the bounds that they should redeem the protection plan. Unfortunately, you just have to keep bashing your head against them till it works. I've just heard
it's terrible.
Stories I've heard about people trying to redeem stuff like that, and they're one of the people that try to get out of it because they don't want to pay the insurance money. And so it's very much just like look into who you're buying it from, look at what it covers, go through the fine print. It'll save you a lot of time, and especially if it's worth it, it'll save you a lot of money if something goes out.
Yeah, that's tough. That's one of the scary things about getting into streaming or PC building, that kind of stuff is, you hear the nightmare stories. We've all heard it obviously with PCs but I've seen some of those nightmare stories happen on other aspects of streaming too, like getting an artist. I happened to find a really nice artist for my logo and stuff, and everything turned out exactly how I wanted, but I've seen other streamers go through the process of trying to hire someone, and what they get back is just horrendous, to say the least. And it's tough, man.
I've seen that, and I've seen a lot of what I've seen is that stuff will be similar in certain scenarios. For there's some similarities, and you can tell like, hey, this wasn't originally made, or this was a template or something like that. And with streaming, the biggest thing is you want your identity. You want that. Like,
yes.
I have my logo. I can actually have a hat with it. So I have my logo that I had designed, and I this is like the 5th or 6th revision I had the artist do, because I was very much like, this is what I'm looking for. I had my gamer picture for 3 years before I made that logo, and what I was using before I made the logo was something I designed in Black Ops 2 Emblem Creator.
Oh my
Nice.
I
gosh.
still had the picture too. Like it looked very, very clean, but you could tell that it was like it wasn't drawn. Like it wasn't the best quality because it was, but it looked really, really nice, and I used that for years. And so what I would recommend for design things like is Fiverr. Fiverr is an amazing marketplace to go to.
Yes, it is.
So Fiverr, it's got 2 R's for some reason. There's tons of artists there. They have a special section for Twitch and streaming and everything like that. So it's you can find artists who are focusing in on that. But the hardest thing would probably be finding someone that does it in your style that you want, because you have this image in your head, and you're like, I want this. I'm not talented enough to draw this. Let's find someone who can, but they may draw it in a certain way, like a bit more cartoony or more realistic, or maybe it looks this way or that way. And there's so many variations in how people do things. It's about finding someone that's going to match it to where it looks your style.
Yes.
And I think the first time we drew it by emblem, it would look more like it, the ball top and around the head and everything like that. And that's how my original emblem looked. But I want it to be more so just like slim down. More so like Heath Ledger, Joaquin Phoenix, kind of like slim down, like the hair spiky, long, and that's what I went for. Like it's more so like I guess a Joker rendition, but with it being red and with the clown and everything because that's what I've embraced in. Especially another thing that's difficult is like your idea may possibly be too complicated for the size you're doing it. That with this is my shirt.
True.
This is something I've actually done. This is something I had someone do. So. This came from a meme that we did where we were doing Index and talking about Nif Anyo with his religious cult in Warframe. And so I wanted to do it in the pose that like the Jesus pose where he has his hand on a heart and his hand like this. So that's what I did. I wanted it as an emote. It was too complicated to be that small.
Oh,
I decided to make it into a shirt.
Mm-hmm. It's not like a mixer sticker. One of the few things I missed.
Right.
And so it's all about just finding someone that can get that style just down right. And once you can find someone that can do it unique and do it, get the style that you want for it, it makes a huge difference. Like it's so lean because you can just look at it and be like, that's me, because that's what you want to be. You want to identify yourself as a certain way.
Yeah, when I went to a guy on a Fiverr for my logo stuff and panels and some things, and I told him I wanted a yak that looked, fierce and aggressive, red, white, black, and grays. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first got it, you can kind of see on the logo, like it's got like a really big like forehead area, and I didn't know what to think of that at first. But after a few days, it grew on me, and I'm like, yep, that's me. It's unique. Like I've got a big head, I've got the nose ring, I can be aggressive. It's perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it takes a minute. I scoured for a little bit. I found someone who had hundreds of jobs under his belt and still averaging a 5-star rating. That's tough to do.
Yeah.
So get over 100 and have a 5-star rating. That's to me, like very impressive.
Big time.
A few people I contacted that had like thousands of views and they're like 4 or 5 stars. And it's like if you're putting out that much volume and you're keeping that's who you want to stick with. It's definitely stick with that. And like the other thing is like with streaming, like getting your layouts, like that's huge, and there's so much that can go into it. Like you can go from like I think I may have spent, all my stuff probably in emotes, everything. I probably totaled $150. But I did an order for my logo was separate, my overlays were separate. I did I think 2 or 3 emotes I've done so far. I haven't been able to put them all out yet. And so it totals up when you're doing separate orders, but it can go from that to like $3,000. It jumps so fast because I wanted to look into animated overlays because that's the one, like I want to do animated screens. That's the one part where it's like of my Twitch layout that I want to do. I like the simplistic on-screen overlay that I have just on my webcam. I might try to alter that a little bit myself eventually, but the be right back screens, then I wanted those to be animated so they weren't static, like just plain.
Right.
And so I was like, I wanted like the Warframe ship with like my favorite weapon building in the arsenal, animated, and it's like when you get to that point, it's just like it's like $500. Like I knew I expected it to be a lot. I didn't expect it to be that much. And I didn't want to just your basic animation, because the way I sometimes see it's just, why should I buy the middle step if I eventually want the last one? I don't want to take a rest stop. I want to go there because what I have right now is working. It works. It doesn't it's not the prettiest thing ever necessarily, but it's working. I don't have to I'm not gonna spend $100 to get an anime overlay when I'm going to have to spend even more later down the road to get to what I want it to be. So it's definitely good. It's definitely hard to balance that to an extent.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we all want like the best of everything, but you have to, when you're starting out, a lot of us have to figure out priority. What's going to be most important to tackle. I just got an intro done on Fiverr by a different guy for my logo, but oh my gosh, it is next level. And like you say, it's that level. Like I want to be at that level.
Yeah.
And to spend money on kind of a middle ground, it's kind of silly. If you're going to shoot for the stars, go for it. Now that doesn't mean go spend $3,000 on tech.
Oh no.
And have the finest XLR mic and everything right off the bat. But
you're at the casino and you got it. I mean, go for it.
Well, yeah. I mean,
you do what you want. It's your money. You need it now.
But you don't that's the important thing is you have to find that balance. Because you don't want the cheapest thing there is and waste your money, but you don't want to straight up buy the top line every single time. You have to find that middle road. And it's all those kinds of you can talk with people, chat with people about it. There's Reddit, all that. It's just find out that middle ground, because when you're getting into this, you want to shoot for quality, but you don't want to break your bank. Because if you don't have a great sounding mic, or if your video quality is not the best, whatever, that's gonna draw people away. Because even starting out, if you don't have a video camera, if you have a good microphone and you have your filter set up and your audio is landing and it's nice, people will sit for that. Like there's VTubers are taking off right now. It is crazy. I'm so happy about that, because like I'm big about accepting and something like that. So if you don't necessarily want to broadcast your face for one reason or another, and you want to have a persona, I'm glad that people are finally taking that to a new level, to where it's being more out there. There's a lot of people that do that, and you've got a good audio setup, and then you've got avatar. It works. So focus on that. And it's like with overlays, you have to kind of picture out what you need and what you don't. You don't necessarily need the super best animated away screen or intro or transitions start at the gate. You just need your logo, maybe something for webcam or your socials or stuff like that. And so it's very much just finding that balance. A lot of people with streaming think it's real easy to get in. They go with it, and that they look at Ninja, and they look at all these huge people that are there all the time, PewDiePie. And they're like, oh my gosh, like like Ninja's like the top person right now. Like look at what they're doing. But then they don't take into account that Ninja was streaming for like forever. He was streaming forever, and which is a small audience. He's been doing it for like I think he's been doing it for longer than a decade now. He's been really refining that. So it's like it didn't happen overnight for him. Now like it seems like it, because like people all of a sudden people are like, oh my gosh, who is this person within a week? But he had been doing it for years and years and years and years. You can't just, because that's the big thing with like when it comes to streaming. I think your passion has to be in the right place. You can't I believe a lot of reason why a lot of people fail or think that or go into content creation and then come out of it and they're like, oh, it's so hard. Like you don't want to do that. Like, oh my gosh, it's because they go in looking at the money and the fame and looking at that aspect of it, going, I want that, and so that they're trying to get that early on, but it's such an uphill battle early on that you can't hit those leaps.
You will fail.
Yeah.
Yes, you will fail. like you will try stuff and it will fail. You have to accept it. And it's just like with me, my passion was very much just like I want to get want to work from content creator, which I hit all the checkpoints faster than I ever thought I would. So with work, I have turned out in the first 6 months. I've been doing for 6 months, or now it's 7 or 8. It's been crazy going through that. I hit
doing really well
a month. I feel it within a singular month. Content creator, I need at least 1,000 followers to hit. And I was like, okay, like 2-3 years. Yeah, that's what I expect. And it was crazy. And a lot of it is, it's another important thing is like networking.
Oh my god,
Yes.
Networking is big. Network, like that's the most important thing. And it's not only just because like, it's going to get your numbers up there, but it's because you're going to meet tons of new people along the way. That's the biggest way to do it. I've met, Dusty, I've met a whole ton of smaller creators through networking, and it's great just to hang around them. They have great energy. You can take inspiration from them. It's also good to kind of, talk shop about, setups or, hey, I want to try to get this working. How do you know how to do this? And it's a good asset to do.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We bring up those 2 points around here quite a bit. Where, first to go back just a second, where people get in and we see the end product of Ninja. We see the end product of Shroud. We see how great they have it now, and it's so easy if you don't do your research to realize, like you say, Ninja was on the grind for almost a whole decade before Fortnite and him merged and created this crazy thing.
It's the mentality that people have.
Yeah, and now the uphill battle is so much harder because there are so many more people trying to do it. So, if you're getting into it, you gotta be ready for that long grind.
Yeah, you gotta be patient with that. And something that's like with when people look at it, I feel like there's kind of like two types of streaming, more so. There's people that they're streaming for what the content you're putting out is. Like the people who are performing at Ninja's level, where they're the best, and so you're watching them because he's the best he's one of the best at what he does, and he's really good. And you want to watch and see how it is to perform at a competition level. So it's like watching sports. Or the people who you stream like I consider myself this way, where it's like you're hanging out with them. You're hanging out with them, you're chatting. It's social. So you have social performance. And it's like Ninja took off because Ninja's really, really, really good, and so people are watching him because he's really, really good. If you aren't the one of the best at what you do, it can be very difficult with taking off. And even if you are hitting those marks, it can still be very difficult taking off. Because with that you have to get seen, and to get seen you have to get out there and share everything, and it's so you have to take it slow, and you have to take it in strides and understand that. There is going to be rough points, and that it's going to be a while, but you have to put that out there. And with your passion, like if your passion's in the right place, it's you just go with it. Like I just want to do this because it's fun for me. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed every step of the way. Like yes, I have days where I'm just like it's just my heart's not in it for one reason or another, and I can't explain it. But it's just like I'm just like those days are hard. Because it's like you have a stream plan and you're just like you're looking at it and you're like, and like I've been trying to get better at not calling it on some of those days, but some of those days like it's for whatever reason like I can't get in it.
Days and mental health days.
Important.
I don't think I tell everybody, I'm like, if you have to do that, never apologize for taking care of yourself. The day you do that, it's like, guys, I'm sorry I couldn't stream Saturday. I had to take care of my sick grandma. Well, no, go do that. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, you deserve the same level of love and self-care as everybody else. Like I
see it more of I see it more of like to the viewers. It's like if I'm not 100%, I don't want to go out there and then it seemed like I'm disconnected or not there for you, or not hanging out, not my best, because you can 100% tell. And so I want to give people my best all the time I can, because I don't think it's necessarily fair if I don't. If you come and and you're here to check out and you're not performing at the best, and it's not something I'm super concerned with, but it's more so if I'm not feeling 100%, I don't want to necessarily bring that out and not necessarily throw away a stream, but just doing it just because of doing it. I want to do it because I love it. And so that's what I focus on when I go into it.
I think we've all seen. I remember being part of a group on Facebook with Mixer back in the day before everything fell, and everybody's all about supporting one another and being there. And I always tell people drop your hey, tell us about yourself, and people would just drop their link, and they wouldn't say anything about them. And you would go and you'd click on the link, and there would be somebody who you could just tell was super either angry, pissed off, sad, or mad. They weren't talking, they weren't doing anything, they were just gaming and stuff. And it's well, if you would have told me that's what your stream was, I never would have clicked on it. So it's smart for you to just post your link like that. But for me, I'm just if you're not in it, if your heart's not there, as you said, nobody wants to be around that. It's kind of
Yeah.
Not that you can't be your true self or just like pop in. It's like, hey guys, here's what's going on. Here's why I'm not doing a full stream or doing, whatever. But it's like, I think, as you said, there's like a certain level of integrity and the energy around your personality and who you are, where it's okay to take that step back and take that time off and be like, hey guys, I'm not, my heart's not in it. I'm not feeling it. And coming back with that energy and just bringing it, and I think people truly appreciate that. Like, to this day, I still look back at those other individual streamers and was like, they weren't happy, they weren't passionate. I was like, go do something to make you happy because you seem real sad right now. And that makes me sad.
Yeah, it's tough.
I wasn't coming here for the feels.
Yeah, and it's like some people are sitting there saying like streaming for everyone. I don't believe streaming is for everyone.
No,
I know some people say like stuff like that. I don't believe that because not everyone. There's a lot of stuff that you have to overcome with streaming. That I've had to overcome with streaming that can be difficult. I think one other thing is like filling blank space. Filling blank space when like especially when you're a smaller streamer can be a very difficult thing to do early on.
Yes.
Because even when you have to think about this, okay? When you're a very, very small streamer, there's not many people watching you. You don't want someone just to pop in and then it's just dead silence and it's just a game. You want to be trying to talk with yourself like you're talking to somebody, and that's a good thing to learn for even when you do get big. Because even when you start seeing that, like 10, 5 to like 30 viewers, you can actually look at chat and talk with people and interact with chat a good bit and go with that. When you start looking at 200, 1,000, 3,000, there's no way. There's absolutely no way you're gonna really catch that chat.
No.
And so you have to be used to talking to yourself, narrating what's going on, and telling people what you're doing, so that those 3,000 people watching you understand and are engaged. Because you can't engage them, they have to basically kind of engage what's going on in the stream. And so it's not something silly to like. I've had it. I've had interactions with some streamers here and there where I've said tips into that, and some of them say that's silly. Like why do that? I'm like, it's because it's going to help you in the long run. It really will. Because you can't engage with chat at that point. And you might be like, oh well, I can try to engage where I'm going to perform this top point, but it's still a thing where you want to hear the person talking. You're there to watch them, not necessarily watch the game, because you could either play the game yourself or look up a YouTube video tutorial of someone just playing the game with no audio. You're there to see the person you're seeing, so you want to make sure that your heart's in. And some people you can tune into and watch, and you can tell like they aren't necessarily engaged chat or checking it, or they're not necessarily, they're focused in. They're just not think, they're just turning on the stream and then they're just playing, and they're just playing the game. They're not actually necessarily streaming to where they're engaging with the chat, talking about what you're doing. Like, hey, we're gonna go do this objective, even if you're not talking with anyone, even if the number says 0 over there in the corner, just so that if someone does pop in, they pop into your stream and they are already they can focus on what you're doing and know what you're doing and get engaged.
Yeah, it's tough starting out because like I had to learn to talk to myself a lot. Those first however many months of getting started with 0 viewers, or my bro and I, we used to call each other, we get so excited if we'd have 1 or 2 people pop in and leave 5 or 10 minutes later, not even say anything.
Yeah, like they never say anything. They could just show up.
Yeah.
It was like, oh man, that was the dream. But I think as Yak was kind of saying, like, and that's the thing, is when someone comes into your stream, there is such a delay in that number of them actually being there and them leaving.
Yes.
By the time you see that they're there, they've probably already checked out. They're gone. They saw what they saw, and you always want to make a good first impression, which is really hard. But if you're always constantly staying engaged and you're constantly talking, or even some people are like, well, I spend a long day, or I work at a call center, and so I talk all day, and so for me it is very hard. I'm like, then get some music, put some background music, or take it slow, or get a story driven. Like, find ways to help you help yourself in a way that's going to be fun and engaging for everyone. Like, I think that's the problem we do as streamers. I think sometimes is we're like, even Poison Kill mentioned this in the last podcast stream. Was like, everybody, like, as a streamer, you will come to like an immovable rock, and everybody will sit there banging their head against an immovable rock. Well, what's around the rock? What's on the sides? What can you do? What can you do about it? And focus on that, and like live with that mindset, and you're going to get so much further and do so much better.
Yep,
absolutely.
And the thing with a lot of the statistics is like the thing that I did because when I started getting disheartened when I started streaming because of this views, like not viewers. I like some people tell you to hide your viewers. I don't like doing that because I want to see necessarily how many people I have there. Like I check in to see if people are lurking like that, and it's important to balance that engagement, especially when you're thinking about lurkers, because some people don't necessarily want to engage. They love your energy, they love watching you talk and things like that in game, but they don't want to talk themselves. And so they just want to sit there in the shadows, or sometimes I do sometimes too, where I'm not necessarily I feel like a talking person today. I don't want to talk today, so I'm just gonna sit and watch the stream that I love watching because today I'm just not feeling it. Normally, I'd be all in the chat, but I'm like no. And you don't want to necessarily call them out I've seen bots do it. I've tuned into streams and instantly been DM'd by a bot. And I've never backed out of stream so fast. I feel like that's an invasion of privacy, and it's awkward for me because it's like instantly I'm like,
oh, and then
instantly engaged. Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, my bot let me know so and so, and they're gone. I wonder why.
Yeah, and I'm just if I follow following, if you follow it's okay to engage them. But something that I do with I follow is I don't ask a question. Some people ask a question to the person, which I feel kind of ask them to engage, and they
puts them on the spot.
Yeah, it puts them on the spot. Yeah. I'm just hey, hope you're having a great day. Because it starts a conversation. It starts it off friendly. I've engaged them. I've thanked them, and then if they want to, maybe I'm not having such a great day, and we can talk about that, or maybe they're having a great day, we can talk about why and things like that. And so it opens the conversation without requiring a reply. And that's something where it's you're just getting in mannerisms certain ways is what's going to bring in your community. So because if you try to be a person that you aren't, it may not work out. Now, some people it does work out. If you look at some people who have personas, like Dr. Disrespect, he has this whole persona, and he delves into it. You have to commit to that. And so if you're committing to that, that's you. But you don't want to try to put on this persona that you actually aren't. Try to be something that you aren't. You want to be just you and just work out how you are, and that's what you can work with and build your community around. Because once you're you, that's who's going to stick around your stream. The people who like you.
Yes. Well, you get comfortable. Yeah, you want that. You want to get on a comfort level where you're not worried about maybe meeting the criteria for this persona. Like you said, Dr. Disrespect pulls it off very well. There are some other people who have a get-up going, and it works fantastic. They do a great job with it.
Yep.
But for the average person, that's kind of like an extra strain. It's an extra load on your brain while you're trying to stream, and that was something that YakPom and I had talked about early on. It was do we want to do a character? And for me, I have PTSD and some things going on. So it's if I'm having just a grouchy, crappy day, I don't want to pretend I'm this other make-believe thing. Screw that. I just want to be able to be me. And if I'm mad and I'm having a bad day, I want to be able to share that too, because everyone can relate to that. We all have those days, but that's it's tough. There's lots of things to get nailed down when you get started. We are kind of coming up. We've been going a little over an hour, though. We try to keep them about an hour for editing's sake and all that stuff. And lazy editing makes for easy editing. YakPom, did you have any final questions?
Hey, well, the final question I always ask is similar to in interview questions. Is always what was your biggest challenge? How did you overcome it? And I think you already kind of shared that, but also, what is the number one piece of advice you would give to a streamer starting out? Whether it's something personal that you learned or I know we're putting you on the spot here. This is you didn't study, but there's no.
I do 5 cartwheels before every podcast. No, I'm
every single one.
Yes.
Networking and probably getting out to other platforms is probably the biggest benefit to you. And it's not just for growth. It's not just because of that. It's because it's going to open up a lot of assets and tools and people you can confide in and work with that are going through the same stuff that you might be going through or doing the same things that you're doing that can help you in your sense. Branching off to other platforms. I want to go on TikTok. I want to go on YouTube and things like that, but I haven't really worked out my content for that. To where I've wanted, I've set up stuff for that. I have placeholders for it because I saved my name on every single platform there was. Except for Facebook. except for Facebook.
Facebook's overrated anyway.
Yes.
No.
It's like, branching your content other places means more places to discover. Like TikTok is a really good place that if you know what your content wants to be on TikTok, you can blow up on TikTok overnight. That's the one platform where it's just like, instantaneous growth. Get on TikTok if you know what your content you want to be TikTok. I just haven't figured out what I want to do because with Warframe, there's not much I can do necessarily with that, but I'm trying to work something out. I have a few ideas I have to experiment with. But networking, branching other platforms, Twitter is what I mostly use outside of Twitch. So getting interactions there. YouTube, if you're doing playthroughs, YouTube's great for playthroughs.
Yes.
And then networking within other Discords, networking within other people's chats. Not necessarily like dropping your link everywhere. Like don't do that. There's a certain respect that you have to give people.
Yes.
Where you don't want to bust in and be like, "Hey, I'm this streamer. Here's my link." Like, don't do that. That's
cringe. Don't do that.
you can talk with the streamer like what get to know me, and eventually I may ask like, "Hey, how you doing? Like, what do you do?" and things like that. But you don't want to drop instantly. But there's a lot of good Discords out there that are built for helping small streamers and helping people get to necessarily helping them get the affiliate and pushing them and giving them resources to go to from people who are pretty large creators that work with people to like starting out. And I didn't necessarily join much to blow up my growth or anything like that. I joined to give back because I had such fast growth starting out from just because I already had such a huge community on Warframe amongst alliances and things like that, like clans, that I had such fast growth and grabbing other people from the Warframe directory because I'm high up in that list or whatever. I want to get back to other small streamers who maybe didn't have it as easy. So I joined those Discords to get back to people who are streaming and trying to get affiliates. But they're a huge help if you're starting out with network.
Yeah, absolutely. That's some solid advice, my man.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yes, it's been a pleasure, my guy.
Happy to be here. It was great.
Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitch and Twitter. I'm the clown, no space. I think my gamer tag is the only thing that does have spaces. So it has spaces between the name. But yeah, Twitch and Twitter are the main places where I'm at now. I have YouTube and TikTok, like I mentioned, but I have nothing on there right now. Like it's a placeholder account. If you want to for some reason, go ahead and follow that. You feel free, but I don't have plans to post there yet. Subscribe before the content, yeah.
For those
I have playthroughs downloaded for YouTube, but I just haven't put them out there.
Oh, it's a lot to balance streaming and other platform content for sure. That's something I struggle with every week. So no worries, my guy, when you get to it. But you guys be sure to smash that link down below in chat. Thank you, YakPom, for dropping that. I'm the clown. Go throw him a follow. And for those on YouTube, the links will be below in the description. And yeah, thank you so much for being our guest host today. It was good to sit and chat and get to know you a little better. And welcome to the team again. And we're excited to do some things here in the future. So
stay healthy, stay awesome, and we'll catch you next time.